Okay, so now let us look at the visual simulator. So this visual simulator is comprised of HTML5 coordinates, dynamic matrix, and active layers. So there are three things that are involved for the visual simulator. So now, when we when we look at the grid vector render matrix, this grid uh, render matrix is comprised of those levels that you see in that particular game. There are some levels, the constraints that are there, the levels, the issue of robot posts and robot direction. So when you look at the active layer pattern, it has got number one, the background layer, the interactive layer, and also the mascot vector layer. What does the background layer do? The background layer is in charge of the color tiles. The color tiles that are rendered via CSS grid replacement. Then it has got some dynamic Boolean lookups that determine which cells get colored. So as the game, as the blocks are moving, this is the layer that now changes the color to say when it moves to the second stage, the other block remains blank. Then the interactive layer, it's the item collection triggers, which is triggered by coordinate intersection. So the inventory state updates immediately on collision. So, like I mentioned, it is moving from one point to another. Then this interactive layer comes in, or it is triggered the moment it moves to the next block. Then it is triggered. Then the mascot layer or the mascot vector layer is the framer motion tracks which tracks position coordinates, spring physics, animated movements between grid cells. That's the mascot layer. So when you look at the code itself, when you look at the snippet here, you'll be able to see what areas I'm talking about. So the first part here, it's talking about the what? It's talking about the grid, the game grid. Then you move on now to the game background. The background tiles. Okay. Then from the background tiles, we now move to the interactive layer, which is the layer 2 here. This is the interactive layer. Okay. Then when we get to the third one, this is the robot mascot, which is talking about direction, issues of position. This is where now it moves and calculates all what is required. So with the grid vector render, it is a part that we visually see those blocks as they move from one point to another, for it to be colored, for it to remain without a color when the battery or when the robot is moving towards the battery. So now the mascot animation with the framer motion is entirely designed in this way. This is spring physics for natural movements. So when we talk about spring physics for natural movements, meaning we are talking about how this particular robot is moving from one point to another, from one direction to another. So let's see this. Let's look at this part. Okay. So I'm very much interested in the last part, in the view, this view box. So now this view box is how the box is filled, how the box is filled when it is moving from one point to another. This is how it is. Yeah. So we move on. So once it is moving, all vector graphics are in line with SVGs. The app works reliably offline, critical for conference rooms and schools with restricted internet connectivity. So when the school doesn't have internet connectivity, provided they've installed this app on their computers and other devices, to work without internet connection, without internet connection. Following, we are going to look at compiler engine. The compiler engine is the next video. Thank you.